This is a
We back.
hometown edition of the Twig and Jenkins podcast. Happy birthday to the incomparable, the most beloved human, the most beloved podcaster in America, Miss Carri Twig. Happy birthday. I would sing to you, but no one wants to hear me sing. No one wants to hear
Fair
me.
enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've had the best birthday. I've had the best time. And like, I always debate whether or not I care about my birthday. And for the most part, I don't. Like, and especially this birthday, it's not like a significant birthday by any stretch. So I like sort of didn't even really tell anybody that it was my birthday
Yeah.
and didn't plan anything. And then sort of like last minute had dinner with friends in New York, like saw some friends in DC, and then I'm home in Ohio and I've been with my family. My family's been making a big deal about it, which has been super cute. Um, but thank you, and you're the best. I can't even believe you remembered. I don't know, but you're
Yeah.
good about that kind of stuff. You're really good about celebrating other people. You do a great job.
It's your birthday. It's also my big brother's birthday.
Me and Sean
Um,
have the same birthday.
no, my brother's birthday was yesterday. Um,
Amazing.
yeah. I also love how Oscar, I gotta turn off Oscar. So I'm in New Jersey. He has been playing with this Spider-Man walkie-talkie, and so I gotta turn this off because he's been telling me everywhere he's been. But I'm in my parents' house, which is this kind of merchandise and this
Mhm,
kind of
mhm, mhm.
paraphernalia. Marina Jenkins is at the Beyonce concert. And so I'm here with the kids
That's
and
so great. I'm going in DC,
ooh,
4th
really?
of July.
That's going to be a fun show.
4th of July show in DC.
That's going to be a
Cannot
great
wait.
show.
Yeah.
They're going to the Jersey show tonight. So, yeah, we took the kids to Princeton this morning, hanging out with the parents. We already ate kimchi. We already ate some galbi. We had some burgers. It's a real Jenkins weekend. So,
Right.
there's a lot to cover. Twig made an outline again. We're going to stick to the outline. I felt like you made an incredible outline last week. And then I just like talked way too much and I like ruined the outline. In fact, we got a YouTube comment. Did you see the YouTube comment?
No.
It was a very sweet comment, but this lady was like, Brad, I love you, but you talk too much. And I'm like, you know what? That's really good constructive feedback.
Did we really? That is hilarious. I'm gonna go look at that right away.
She was like, "I you had great things to say, but just let Carrie cook." And I'm like, "You're right. I'm gonna let Carrie Twig cook." That's gonna be the tagline of Twig and Jenkins. Let
Better not be my mom. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know how to make YouTube comments. Otherwise, I would be very suspicious.
that would be amazing if it were just your Finsta and you were just like you're like,
Let Carrie
let
cook.
Carrie.
Let Carrie cook.
You couldn't confront me. You just had to like put in a comment. Um, but you put together a really great outline, and I want to hear let's just get into it. I want to hear your thoughts. It's your birthday week, so I don't know how much you were paying attention. I feel like there were so many things
Not
happening this
much.
past week. I
To
don't
be
even
honest,
know.
the gift I gave myself for my birthday week was to not really engage too much on all
Yeah.
of this stuff. It's been so bleak. So between the bill and the budget negotiations, between, saving white South Africans from oppression to the West Point speech, like I've really just been hard into culture. Like I'm here for Mission Impossible. I'm here for the NBA playoffs. I'm here for the start of the WNBA season. I'm here for Cowboy Carter. Like that is where my focus has been this week and through the Memorial Day weekend. And then we're gonna like get back into it next week.
I'm with you. But we start with the big, beautiful bill. This is a serious thing. I feel like as
Wait a second, we have to
political.
follow the outline.
Oh,
We're trying to make this like a real podcast, guys. Welcome to Twig and Jenkins.
oh, you know
People
what?
like
You
people
know
have like
what?
official things, Brad.
You know what, Twig? Welcome to Twigg and Jenkins, where two former White House besties became politically codependent podcasters. I am your host, Brad Jenkins, and
Carrie Twig, birthday
that's
girl,
our opening for our show
Gemini.
that we're going to do from here on out, I believe, because
At
it's in
least
the
something,
outline.
some sort of acknowledgement, because I think we're just like, one of the best things about this podcast is that it's so fun because I literally am just like yapping with one of my best friends in a way that we would do no matter what. But it also means that we don't formalize it. So, like, most of our podcast episodes are just like hard, cold open, straight into
Hold
us
open,
talking.
hold open, but not this one,
No
baby. We've
welcome.
got an opening. We got music now. It's a real
Right? Guys,
thing.
we're really trying to gussy this up for you.
It's a real thing. So, how was this past week?
It was really good, man. I had a great time. I mean, I gave myself a break from the news and just sort of kicked it with friends in New York and DC, and now I'm home in Ohio, and so my whole family's here and we're having a great little time. It's like it's been a bit of a it's been a bit of a bad week. I feel like Democrats have totally faded into the background. I have no idea what any Democrat has done.
Yes.
um Donald Trump has had a big legislative week with the first budget bill coming out, as well as trying to save white South Africans from oppression, which is wild. We have more examples of American citizens being detained and harassed by ICE. um Obviously horrific escalations in the Gaza Israel and the Palestinian Israel conflict, and like both the shooting in DC, but also the food blockade and like the massive starvation. And Trump going to West Point and saying that he's liberating the country on behalf of our soldiers so that they never have to worry about defending a country that believes in diversity, equity, or inclusion. Um, I guess I did pay a little bit more attention. It
I
just
was going to
gets
say,
through, doesn't it? It just really gets through. Because to me, all I did this week was Mission Impossible and the NBA playoffs. So in my mind, that's all I did all week.
that's a good segue to my week. This month is Asian American Pacific Islander month. So there
That's
are
right.
event after an event, gala after gala. I kind of skipped out on all the DC ones this year and the LA ones this year. I went to the big New York one, the Asian American Foundation, which my company has been a partner with even before TAF launched. We kind of helped develop their videos and their brand and a lot of the work that they do on the creative front. So I was there. It was an incredible night, but it was also the night of the Knicks collapse. And so during the gala, I had my phone up, seated. I have YouTube TV, so I'm watching the game. And so, probably not a surprise, I was everyone's best friend. My table became the table where service staff, waiters,
Amazing.
everyone was like coming over to watch the game. And we watched it in real time, like on my phone. The Halliburton Reggie Miller choke moment in a gala where every single person there was a Knicks fan, and I felt like I was 12 years old again because I was, was it 1992, 1993 when Reggie Miller did this the first time. I was a New Jersey Nets fan at the time. My brother was a New York Knicks fan. And since that moment, I've been a Reggie Miller fan for life, for life, for life. So I did not get any new
Watching him
friends
hit the
that
choke.
day when I was cheering for Halliburton in this gala. But I'm with you. I think the NBA playoffs have just dominated for me. And I think everything you just laid out, I think that the Gaza blockade, this gruesome murder that happened the day after that TAF gala, really sort of has been a shock to the system, both politically, but also personally. Um, we're going to get into sort of the DC politics of this big, beautiful bill because, um, now this is where the rubber hits the road with an administration, right? Things like this is what they will have to run on in less
Yeah.
than a year, right? For these midterms. And the fact that they barely passed this bill, two Republicans defected, they passed this bill with one vote. Very intrigued to see what takes place during reconciliation, what the Senate's going to do. But what were you tracking with this big, beautiful bill?
Well, it was going to me, it was the like ready-made moment for Democrats to demonstrate that they know what they're doing in terms of being an opposition party.
Yeah,
The Republicans have been telegraphing, the White House has been telegraphing what they're going to do with the first budget for months and months and months. Like they've literally had it on the internet for like posted in long form, written out for months. And so I was really anticipating there to be massive ad buys, having like I
yeah,
was expecting there to be commercials running in major states and in high profile markets about this president wants to cut your access to all of these government benefits that millions and millions of Americans rely on. I was anticipating there to be like really heavy duty press. And maybe that's all coming.
yeah.
But I was expecting a degree of visibility early and aggressively that made me feel like I just am gaslighting myself about like the ability of the Democrats to function as an opposition party. So again, maybe there's some grand strategy that is going to unfold that I've yet to see, but I was shocked that Democrats just didn't even seem to get many column inches in this discussion at all, or really even break through that much at all. You
Agreed.
had some good moments that went viral from a handful of legislators, and I've seen some great moments from legislators in states. AOC, once again, demonstrating she understands the assignment, kind of calling out shame on you and like, I will not yield to disrespectful men about the fact of
Yeah,
the consequences of cuts like this and the fact that
agreed.
there's people who are voting for this bill that are literally damning millions of their constituents to poverty, um, in a way that's just so insidious. But to me, it wasn't, again, I'm always looking for like the we are alive in a politics of mass media. We are alive in a politics of culture, and I'm constantly looking for Democrats like leverage culture and leverage media in order to articulate and make political gains. And they just don't. It just doesn't seem to be working quite yet,
Yeah,
or because they're not. I don't know if it's because they're not trying hard enough, because they don't understand how it works, because there's not enough capital being allayed to it. Like I don't know what is happening, but it's just the thing that the recipe that we watch Republicans use over and over and over again to ensure their success and to insulate themselves from consequences, we don't see Democrats doing, and it's not rocket science. So I don't understand what's going on.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think the AOC moment was the one that comes to mind. There were also some um organizational work that was happening, of course, right? I think that there were thinking of Mia Ives Rublee, who has been the voice on what these cuts would mean for the disabled community, and she leads
Right.
the disability work at the Center for American Progress. They had this great all-night vigil because, as you guys may have seen, they passed this bill in the middle of the night. I mean, it was like 2 a.m. When Republicans passed this bill. I think the biggest challenge is, and maybe again, maybe I'm projecting here, but Andy Kim when he was on. He talked a lot about message discipline, and he said that we as Democrats just need to pick three things and just talk about those three things ad nauseum. And the number one thing on his list was these Medicaid cuts, and Andy's been talking about them. AOC's been talking about them. I think activists like Mia Ives Rublee has been talking about them. But Democrats as a whole and the Democratic Party, and I would also argue the organized left, which is being thrown in every direction, especially considering there are people being disappeared each and every day. There are
Yeah.
attacks on voting rights, there are attacks on civil rights, attacks on LGBTQ plus rights. It's just, we just have not yet figured out, to your point, on the content side, how to focus in on one, this vote happening. I don't think most Americans even knew this vote was happening until after it happened. And now, two, to your point, how are we messaging up into, the Senate is definitely going to make some changes to this bill. I think Senator Rand Paul has already said he's not voting for this bill, and they can't lose more than 3 votes. So I think that there will be modifications and changes to this bill. But again, like, this is just not sexy. You know what I mean? Like, when all of these other things that we were just discussing that are happening in pop culture and that are happening that are sort of politically adjacent, a big beautiful bill, the fact that we're calling it the big beautiful bill, right? This is like, again, Trump's masterful masterful act of
Right.
branding, right? Like,
Right.
we're calling it the big beautiful bill. We just know it's a big beautiful bill because
Right.
Trump says it's a big beautiful bill. And then Americans are
Totally.
moving
Good
on to the
point.
next thing.
Well, and to your point, the fact that people have been talking about it, it's like, so where's all that content? Like,
Yeah.
we do it, we make clips of things that we've recorded. Like, it's just, why? Where's the content that is flooding every
Yes.
single platform? It doesn't matter if it's a year old. Like, if anyone has made a good point
Yeah.
about these cuts, about why Medicaid is important, around why Medicare is important, then where is that video? Why is it not being repurposed and reshared on every single account? Why is it not being
Yes.
cut on every single account? Like, who is booking all of these people? Like, who is harassing the View to get somebody on? Like, what's happening?
What's the strategy? I mean, it's exactly what you said about the lack of a strategy with media with regards to the Kamala and Biden campaigns, right? Which was, we were always flat footed. We were being defined, the race was being defined by Republicans each and every day. And what was the strategy? Like, what were we articulating each and every week? And we just haven't learned our lesson because, again, this is going to be a catastrophic bill for millions and millions and millions of people. For the whole point of it is for tax cuts for billionaires. Like, that is fundamentally what this big, beautiful bill does, right? This is a layup. This is a messaging layup for, folks like Bernie Sanders, who went on the Schultz podcast, which was great, for people like AOC. But it needs to be everyone. We can't, again, just continue to give the ball to AOC and expect her to carry Democrats to some level of a messaging win. I don't know where the fuck Hakeem Jeffries even is. I don't know what he's doing as the leader of the Democratic Party right now. And it's
Do you
not
see
great.
Charlemagne sandbag him?
It's not a great look. No. What did Charlemagne say?
I sent a clip to you. David Hogg was on Charlemagne and was on
Okay.
Breakfast Club. And David, I don't know if it was some sort of like mea culpa for his decision around primaries,
Sure.
but he was basically like, what we need is to get Hakeem more power, right? What we need is to get
Yeah.
him to be the speaker and blah 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 blah. And Charlemagne was like, won't matter. Like, if he's a coward when he has no power, he's gonna be a coward when he has more. Like,
Ooh.
it was awful.
Ooh.
Um, and he was just like, listen, listen, David, like, I respect like that you have to say certain things as like an official of the Democratic Party, and y'all need new people. Like,
Yeah.
bye. You need different new people because this, whatever this is not working. And was just so dismissive, out of hand of Hakeem specifically, but like really just like, guys, be serious.
Yeah.
Like, be serious. Um,
Well, look, I don't
and
want to be too much of a Debbie Downer. I think that the process, we know this is just the first step in the process, right? So, um, and we have a lot of friends in the Senate. I think I'm hoping that the higher chamber is going to, obviously be some of our great communicators in the Senate. So I'm hoping that there will be some better messaging and some actual, I mean, Cory Booker, let's bring back these theatrics, bro. I don't even know what the
I
first
love
one
a
was
little
for.
theatric.
So let's
I think
actually
it was
do
just
it.
cuz.
What's that?
I think it was just cuz, but like there should be great clips of him talking about cuts.
100%. Now's the
Yeah.
time. I mean, now is the time. To your point, this is a moment where, again, Democrats need to step up, right? This is the moment where
Speaking
Democrats need to step up. So we'll see.
speaking of really incredible press runs, Jake Tapper and Original Sin, they are everywhere.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
It's shocking.
Well, they're everywhere, and yet they're also getting completely trolled by our friends at The Daily Show. I'm not sure if you saw the Jon
Oh
Stewart
yeah, that was
complete
great.
takedown of Jake Tapper and the entire CNN industrial complex just shilling for this book. Like every opportunity that they can get, shilling for this book. But what do you make of this book now? We have not discussed President Biden's um, tragic cancer prognosis, stage 4. Um, it seems like it's treatable, but this is heartbreaking news, Twig. Heartbreaking for someone who worked with him for so many years. And um, how are you feeling about this past week with the news?
I mean, I feel like there is there's a real sadness and like an irony to it in the way that cancer has been so much a function, so much a priority of his policy work, particularly since his son died of brain cancer. So it's incredibly sad, and also um yeah, so sad on a human level and like for his
Yeah,
family. And then also I'm personally really sad at the manner in which they've kind of executed his post presidency, and I think that it will fairly or unfairly be uh, a blemish on his legacy, right? And that's too bad. Like, instead of having uniform and uncomplicated compassion and sympathy for a family going through a scary medical circumstance, there's discussion about, well, when did he know? And when did he
yeah,
tell people? And
yeah,
how could he not have known? And Doc, Kevin O'Connor, who has been Joe Biden's longtime doctor and like who was great, was the doctor when the official VP doctor, and I've ridden on planes all over the country and world with him. Like, great guy. And but the way that he gets spoken about in this context, so it's just the whole thing is just really frustrating. And it's like been a continuation of choices around communication and strategy that the Biden that Biden world has made over the course of the last 2 years, that have kind of relentlessly they've backed themselves into corners that put them in the worst possible light. And
yeah,
it just breaks my heart and like scrambles my brain a little bit at the same time, you know? It's like it's almost like this pathological, and again, you hate even saying this because it makes it seem like you're beating up on a sick man, but like, and I don't mean to be at all, but I'm just sort of like, my guy, you guys, what are you like, what are you doing? Like, he just deserves better than that. And I get it, Joe Biden, people can have a complicated legacy, and I think he ultimately, I mean, it is kind of primarily his fault that Donald Trump got reelected, but I mean, maybe not exclusively. And the whole thing is just a mess. But I can't help but feel like they've made it so much worse on themselves than it needed to be. Does that make me sound like a monster?
no, I mean, no, because
A
it's
little bit.
honest. It's honest. And I think that, the reckoning, because I do think it's a reckoning. I think that the worst kept secret in Washington, D.C. was Biden's fitness to run again. It
Yeah.
was every single conversation you had with someone, right? And I'm someone, Twig, also, we are people who would go on media, like I would go on these different shows, and then there's a difference between being on the show and then the cameras being on and then the cameras being off and then having real conversations with people, right? Like in the green room or like waiting for the camera to go on. And I felt like throughout this entire run, any person in Washington that you would get talking real talk, they would say he should not run. There was not a single person who was like, I'm very excited for Joe Biden to run again, right?
Yeah.
But with that said, it's not up to us. It's not, presidents decide whether they're going to run again. And what ends up happening is when that decision is made, it's like anything else. The Democratic Party, his closest advisors, the people around him, trickling down to campaign staff and surrogates and, political podcasters like Carri, Twigg, and Brad Jenkins, who, we were very critical of Joe Biden. We were very excited when Joe Biden dropped out. We thought it was too late. But I think what you're saying is correct, which is ultimately this is on Joe Biden. Like this was Joe Biden's decision. This no one else's decision. And so when you read these articles that are blaming Jill and blaming like people like Ricchetti and blaming all these other people, it's like, no, I'm sorry. This is the president's decision. And
Yeah.
the buck stops there. And the president, the other sort of sad thing about it is I think that President Biden had a very successful 4 years in office. I think a very successful 4 years that no one really expected him to be able to accomplish as much as he did. Gaza aside, which is a whole other thing that we can talk about on another episode, maybe with Ta-Nehisi or someone else. Gaza aside, President Biden did more in his first 4 years than most Democratic presidents. But his legacy will be defined by his hubris to run again. And I think that this now, sadly, this book, the book that's like literally happening in the moment that this cancer prognosis is coming down, it just feels like the universe is sort of revealing itself. You know what I mean? Like that's just such
I've
striking
long
time.
contended that Joe Biden's under some sort of ancient Irish curse. I mean, like we need to burn some sage or something for that man.
Yeah.
Like the man we need to consult somebody because the man he's cursed. Like there is an Irish curse at play on that man. You just don't go through the level of tragedy that I mean it's just wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so but then there is this like real self-inflicted component to all of it that just makes me absolutely nuts. But speaking of, what are you ready for a really probably undignified transition?
Look, when you just refer to an Irish curse on our guy Joey Blue Eyes, like I have
Thank
no
you.
idea
Where we're
where you're gonna head next. But
I was gonna say, speaking of putting self-inflicted, putting yourself in compromising situations, how do you feel about the Mission Impossible franchise and our boy Tom Cruise? I don't know if you
oh
know this, but
wow.
I love Tom Cruise. Do you know
Look,
this about me?
does Tom Cruise also have an Irish curse on himself?
No,
What's
I don't
happening?
think Tom Cruise is Irish.
No, I know, I'm just saying. What's the
No,
curse? Or oh,
that's
you mean
nothing.
putting
No, the
yourself in
curse has
harm's
nothing to do.
way like Tom Cruise
Yeah, just
doing
like just throwing
crazy
yourself.
stunts is what
Yeah,
you're saying. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
physically, not politically.
Okay. I don't know if it was like
Literally,
Scientology adjacent. I was trying to figure out the curse.
nah, I don't care about the Scientology of it. Maybe that makes me a monster, but like I really don't care. I love Tom Cruise.
You love Tom Cruise. You love all the parts of Tom Cruise, or you just love his work. Walk me
I
through
love
the
his
love of
work. I
Tom
mean,
Cruise.
I don't know all of the parts of Tom Cruise, but I know we could change that. But kidding. Um, but I do love Tom Cruise. I love his work. Here's first of all, he's a hell of an actor. Second of all, in a world full of public figures who are often attempting, doing everything they possibly can to like free themselves, to escape from being responsible for anything, Tom Cruise is the guy who's like, let me be the first, let me work the hardest, let me do the most, like, let me put this on my back and carry this up the mountain. And I love that. Like, I absolutely love that. Here's my evidence for it. So, if you'll recall, the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 1, the last Mission Impossible to come out, they were filming in London during lockdown. And I was
Right.
there, right? I was in
Oh
London.
yeah.
They're filming. It was this whole thing. Everyone, me and the person I was with at the time, were are both in film. And so like, we were paying really close attention. We had friends that were working on that
Sure.
movie. And there was this like gossip site that was like Tom Cruise, like listen to Tom Cruise's the leaked audio of Tom Cruise going on a tirade on set in
I remember
London,
this.
right? It was like this big whole thing. And if you actually listened to the rant, so he's screaming, just flown off the handle. And if you listen to what he's saying, he's yelling at someone for not standing 6 feet away or wearing a
Yeah.
mask or something, like violating some sort of COVID protocol. And he was just like, what on earth makes you think you are above the 400 people on this set who,
Yeah.
by being able to come to work, are keeping roofs over their heads, their kids in school, their families fed, their insurance? Like they're the people, these are people, you are jeopardizing someone's paycheck so that you can giggle or like stand close to somebody or like have your mask off. Like everyone's uncomfortable, everyone hates this, but like why do you think you're above all of that? Like why do you think your comfort is more important than like keeping this project going? We have one positive test, we have to shut down. And it's not just our film, like no one else can go into production. So people, all of us in film and TV, and like me at Culture House, we had 3 or 4 projects that were in production that we were on hold for. Everyone was sort of like trying to figure out if we're going to be able to make them or not. And everyone was looking to Mission Impossible to be like, okay, how are they doing it? Like, how
Yeah.
are they keeping? Because movie sets, you're just like up in everybody's grill, like everyone's so close, and so like how there's so many moving pieces and people. It's not like you can show up and sit in a cubicle and then like time people's exits. Like doesn't work like that. So everyone's paying attention to Mission Impossible. So then this guy basically trying to save the production of the film and TV industry on his own through one production, and kind of did it, like kind of
Yeah.
proved how you could keep going, which meant so many people could still be working. Then 2020, we have our racial reckoning. We find out the Golden Globes has no black members. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Golden Globes, no black voting members of the HFPA, Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Yeah.
That's why no black people ever win. Like no people of color, no women like ever win Golden Globes. Obviously, there's a big boycott. This gets leaked. Everyone's like, we're boycotting the blah 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 blah. Tom Cruise, first major movie star to say he wasn't going, first to return his Golden Globes, first to say, unless they add new members, like, I will not be there and I will not participate. It's amazing. End of rant. And he does all
Wow.
his own stunts. He does all his own stunts. It's crazy. He's like the last living movie star and like takes it as a series, like as a vocation, as a craft. Respect that.
He is probably the last real movie star, right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. I think it's like Cruise, DiCaprio. I don't know if we still call Tom Hanks a movie star. I don't think he's as working as much or as relevant
It's
in a very long
still
time.
incredibly famous. Leonardo DiCaprio is so ick though. Like he's a great actor. I won't take that away from him. He's so embarrassing. Like dating 19-year-olds and like at the club. He's so embarrassing.
But weirdly, that fits into the sort of culture of what a movie star, at least an old,
Ugh.
like outdated version of what a movie star is supposed to do, right?
It
Uh,
does feel very retro, I will tell
it
you
feels
that.
very feels very vintage. Feels like a very vintage movie star. The Mission Impossible series is kind of just not in my, has never really been in my wheelhouse. I mean, I remember the original, well, when Cruise sort of revitalized the Mission Impossible series when, what was that, like mid 90s? I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember
Ethan
going to
Hunt.
that in the movies, but I just sort of have always kind of checked out of the Mission Impossible films. So I don't, I mean, I love your love of Tom Cruise.
I
I
love a
appreciate,
big dumb action film. Like I just find action films incredible, and like the bigger and more outrageous they are, I love an action film.
I love this for you. I love that you
Yeah.
love Tom Cruise. This is great. I, Yeah, I don't know. Tom Cruise is not. I've always had a special appreciation for him. Well, look, we can both agree on taste in women because Katie Holmes was my everything for many years growing up.
Hmm.
Dawson's Creek head over here.
Interesting.
But beyond that, I mean, my favorite Tom Cruise shit. It's been a really long time since Tom Cruise has been in a movie that I like checked for. You know.
You didn't watch Maverick?
No,
Top
I
Gun
didn't even watch. I
Maverick?
didn't even watch the new Top Gun movie. No, I
Top
didn't.
Gun
I didn't
Maverick
really have.
is a perfect movie.
Didn't really have
It
any
is a
interest. Yeah,
perfect movie.
yeah. I mean,
All
I
right,
liked the
moving on.
original Top Gun. It was
Yeah, it's great.
fine.
It's great.
You know,
It's sensational.
it's
All right,
fine.
all right, all right, all right, all
It's
right.
fine. I don't know. I know
Who do you
people
think's
really
gonna
love Tom
win?
Cruise.
Who's gonna
People,
win the Eastern Conference? Who's gonna win the Western
people
Conference?
really love Tom Cruise. Um, as I said, I don't know if we were recording when I said this, but I grew up in New Jersey. I'm here in my
Yeah,
childhood home. I've got my Mr. Met on my dad's desk here, which is incredible. No, I grew up being a New Jersey Nets fan, so we don't root for the New York Knicks in this house.
got it.
My brother, who's a contrarian, did root for the New York Knicks in this house. And one of my core memories is the Reggie Miller choke game in the early 90s, scoring what, like 9 points in like 12 seconds or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um, I mean, no, I mean, I don't see the Knicks. The fact that they're down 2-0 and then they're now going to Indiana, like I just the odds are not in their favor. And I think Indiana, they're so quick. It's a cliche to say like the Pacers play with such pace, but it's incredible how fast they are, and it's
Yeah,
incredible how deep they are. They have so many players that they're throwing in. Like the Knicks have one player, he's playing out of his mind, but his supporting cast, like
yeah,
they've just sucked, right? They just
yeah.
fully suck both defensively, offensively. You can't win a series with one player. So I think the Pacers are going to take it. And speaking of my father, he grew up in Oklahoma City, so we've been rooting for the Thunder. We watched the game last night. They got blown out,
I know
which
it was
was great.
bad.
I mean, it was great that Minnesota actually showed some real balls and some fortitude and played
Yeah,
the way
they.
that we expect them to play. But no, I think it's going to be OKC, Indiana, and I think OKC in six. I think OKC's got this. I think um, they're just too good. Their defense is phenomenal. Like I don't know how into
Yeah,
basketball you are, but like it's insane. It's absolutely insane how chaotic and how oppressive their defense is. It's unbelievable to watch. Like the fact that Jokic couldn't even get the ball. Like
I
my man
know.
was just like couldn't even get the ball.
Couldn't get the ball.
And when he got the ball, like there was just nowhere for him to go. Um,
I have a
and so I think
question.
I think it's OKC. I think it's going to be great. Speaking of
Would love for it to be OKC.
for a mid-market team, for a small market team like Oklahoma, I love this for the NBA. I love
Totally.
having a franchise like Oklahoma City, a young franchise, a new superstar in SGA.
Yeah,
I think it's a great sort of passing of the baton. I think the NBA needed the passing of the baton for many years. And I think SGA is like, he's perfect.
the
Just won the
guy. Yeah.
MVP. He's going to be great. So, how about
Do
you?
you think Trump goes definitely OKC? I'd be
Yeah.
happy with the Pacers, like as a good Midwestern girl. Um, but I would love to see OKC win. Take it all. Do you think President Trump goes to the NBA finals?
I think it
Showed up at the
depends.
Super Bowl, showed up to NASCAR.
I think it depends. I have actually name check. I had caught up with my friend Michelle Steele, who's an ESPN reporter, at this brunch that we did in town for all of the Asian American journalists across the country, and she brought up a really good point, which is Trump knows nothing about sports. He knows nothing, but he knows how important sports is. Like he understands. You know how we always talk about Trump has just like a gut for when things are
Totally.
important and when things are not. He has no real interest or any real knowledge of any professional sport, but he knows he has to go. That's what he knows. And so, but like when you actually talk to him, anything about any kind of sport is his
No.
surface level knowledge of the Bible. Like, remember when Halperin was like, "Oh, what's your favorite verse?" And he was like, "All of them, all of the Bible verses, Old Testament, New Testament." That is Donald Trump when talking about sports. He knows nothing.
Did
But
Barack Obama actually call a basketball game? I can't remember. Not like call as like an as a ref, but did he actually do commentary on one, or was that just an idea that we were kicking around?
definitely kept pushing him. I mean, he went on the Bill Simmons podcast, which is a big deal at
Right.
the time, right? And he always did the Super Bowl interview. I think we wanted him to get in the booth for an NBA game. That was always like a
Right?
dream and always an idea. Yeah.
It's like we
Um,
really no, we wanted him to do like courtside commentary.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like be
yeah.
there with them. And well, just again to flex that speaking of someone who knows a shit ton about professional sports,
Yeah.
is our former President Obama. But no, like, yeah, 100%. The fact that Trump just had Saquon Barkley in the Oval Office, the fact that
Yeah.
Trump just golfed with Saquon. And by the way, any New York Giant fan, we're feeling really good right now. The fact that we kind of like,
Yeah, right.
what, like Saquon could leave us and go win a Super Bowl, but I still think Philadelphia took an L with that one. Trump is going to keep using sports to his advantage. And I think Democrats, we are at such a detriment when it comes to sports culture. I think sports culture right now is media culture. It is Portnoy and
Totally.
Barstool. It is Rogan and UFC and WWE. It is, the manosphere, so to speak. And Democrats, we don't know the first, we like don't even have someone I can think of other than Barack Obama who's like into sports on the left,
Yeah.
you know? It's not great. It's not great for us. So yeah, Trump will go. I think if he'll be again, his team will be smart though. I don't think he would go into the Garden because he knows he's going to get booed there, right? But I do think he would go to Oklahoma. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Oklahoma loves Donald Trump. Like, he
Yeah.
would definitely go to an Oklahoma game. So I think that it's all about the spectacle. It's all about the theatrics.
Totally.
And
It's about the jumbo screen. It's
it's
about being
about
on
the
the
jumbotron.
jumbotron.
100%. 100%. And it's all about going to the Super Bowl and ruining it for Kansas City. Like, God bless. The gods were like, you know what? You know what, Brittany Mahomes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Casey's not winning.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Trump, though, you flagged this for me, Twig, this West Point speech. I did not track this speech. I did not know that it was happening. I don't even know the content of the speech. I probably should know, um, considering my dad's a former Army officer. But what went down at West Point?
I mean, Trump gave I assume the commencement speech, but basically did his thing, like
Yeah.
we know he loves pageantry and loves like military parades. Um, loves a man in uniform, our president. And basically said got up onto the podium at West Point and said that told the cadets that they don't have to worry that he has made the country safe by eliminating DE&I, and they won't have to worry about defending or fighting to defend a country that believes in things like diversity, equity, inclusion, and they won't have to worry about defending a country that believes in liberties, essentially, believes in civil liberties. He also did his thing where he said multiple times so far in his presidency, he's like, I'm the ruler of this country, I'm the ruler of the world, and sort of that
Yeah.
grandiose, sort of omnipotent figure, posturing himself as that guy. And, you know, in many cases, it's easy to be dismissive. In many cases, this is something that he has said before. In so many others, it represents another violation of a really kind of sacred boundary that most presidents always walked, which is
Yeah.
not politicizing their role as the commander in chief and pushing the military towards a place of at least balance, if not progressivism, right?
Yeah.
I think people who are in charge, people who have spent any time in the military, people who have spent time um, around people in service. Like even me, my experience at the White House made me a little bit more, made me understand the conservatism that is actually required for an environment as hierarchical, as sort of orderly, as sort of top down, and as threatening as the military, right? Like the armed services, like that is literal life and death. If you can't follow orders as they were given to you, then there's a good chance that you will hang some people out to dry, right? That you yourself will die, that other people will die. Like it is not up to you and your sort of interpretation or your discretion about what should be happening. And there's reasons for that. And my experience at the White House, being around cat teams, like watching people do the things that they needed to do to keep the president safe, being on the plane and you're talking to Secret Service people and they're talking about their families, their spouses, their children, and you're like, oh wait, yeah, and you've signed up to die for this, like for this country, like it is your job to die so that the president doesn't. Like that kind of gravity makes you understand, I think, and give leeway to a lot of the kind of by nature linear conservative ways that the military functions and operates and is sort of prone to, right? But the vast majority of presidents from Eisenhower on, I mean, even Bush, right? Bush one and Bush two have generally speaking been very much about attempting to um, make sure that there is still some understanding that the US military, while trying to be respectful of the chain of command, the order of command, the hierarchical nature of it, still needs to like embody America's broad sense of freedom and liberty and your ability to live your life as you so choose. And that pursuit of happiness is on par with the concept of right defending the country. And so watching Trump sort of, you know, talk about cast aspersions on some Americans, right? To insult Americans, some Americans, to young members of our military, to kind of reinforce or play up to or encourage the most dictatorial impulses that come from a place like the military's act is just incredibly disturbing, you know. And I think that, one of the things that I'm struggling with is a broader point, but one of the things that I constantly struggle with in this moment is like, are we underreacting to everything that's happening? But then also, if I react at the level that actually feels appropriate, how often can I do that? Because it's every other minute. But this one
Yeah.
felt incredibly, incredibly just like offensive and disturbing, and like got to keep an eye on that because that's how all the dominoes fall, right? Like you lose the military, like the military is massive. The military has a lot of checks and balances. The military is not uniformly in favor of this president.
Yeah.
And yet he is their commander, and it is a place based on hierarchy and the order of the chain of command. So, like, tricky.
And nothing he does is by accident, right? Nothing he
No.
does like that this is all very calculated. Um I've not watched the speech yet, but what you're describing sounds, again, we've all read and I agree with you too that I think that there's a consistent um what did you just, what was the term you used? Like there should be more outrage or under outrage or under
Even just like,
intensity?
yeah, it's like even just like appropriate that we're underreacting, I think.
Underreacting. Yeah, like I think that should be the hashtag for the first however many months we've been into this, right? How many months has it been? It's been like 6 months of this Trump administration. Um, I would call it hashtag underreacting. And I think that the challenge with it is I think that we've all been sort of scattered,
Yeah.
because it's an all out assault. It's an all out attack on all of the things. I was in Los Angeles last week filming a video because, speaking of attacks and underreacting, there's a horrible judgment in the Eighth Circuit as it relates to the Voting Rights Act. And we're making a video about it because not a single fucking peep, like no one knows that the Voting Rights Act just got gutted, fully gutted, which will eventually lead to, like, I mean, not to sound hyperbolic because it's like underreacting, like the Voting Rights Act not even being a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's what where we're at. Like the Voting Rights Act, which is the crown jewel of the civil rights movement, it is like foundational to social justice and voting justice, will no longer exist. And underreaction, underreporting, right? It's really hard right now for any of us to rise to the level of, to your point, screaming from the top of our lungs about a thing because simultaneously a more horrific thing is happening right next door simultaneously. And so we haven't figured out how to walk and chew gum. We haven't figured out how, and we should clip the West Point speech. We should bring attention to the West Point speech because that's scary shit. That's some like fascist fever dream shit. Like he did that for a reason, right? When Trump wants to run for a third term and he has the military behind him, it's like, guess that's happening. Like this is what dictators do. Again, not to sound like I
I
am
know.
overreacting, not to sound like I am being hyperbolic, but these are all the steps and all of the sort of quiet patience that I think Democrats, and I would also include cultural figures or people who have platforms and voices who are afraid to get outraged right now. It's really weird. It's really weird to pick your battles on what and can we be outraged by a thing in this moment? You know,
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't know. I don't know. But I do know, that shit is very scary to me. And, I was actually speaking to my dad. I bring it up a lot because I'm here in Jersey, but I reminded my father last night, speaking of DEI in the military, about how the Trump DOD removed Jackie Robinson, American
Yeah.
hero, from the DOD website because Jackie Robinson served his country admirably. And they removed his story from the website. And so there's these things where it's like, okay, if Trump wants to go down that path, there's no doubt in my mind that we will win. I just don't think, I think speaking of like under outrage, or like he underappreciates how, like what this country truly stands for. And I'm
If we can
curious.
get a cogent message out to push back on that idea, right? I mean,
Yeah,
to your point, so many
yeah,
people have no idea what's even happening, and
yeah.
the left's ability to distribute a counter narrative and a viable option or a viable alternative to the president has been anemic.
Yes, and that is why this big beautiful bill is so important. I think that is why, because it
If we
encapsulates
can
who
message
Trump is.
around it,
Say that again.
if we can get our message out around it.
That's what I mean. Like this is the greatest opportunity that Democrats have to expose like who he is actually fighting for, and who Democrats, in theory, who we fight for when we are in power.
Yeah.
Um, it's gonna be a really interesting thing. We're gonna have to keep our eye on it. We're definitely going to have some folks on who are in the thick of it. And we'll try to keep doing what apparently Democrats are not doing and explaining the shit
That's us and Gav.
in a compelling way. Oh
Um,
yeah, the Gab is trying. God bless him.
Gav's trying.
The
Gav is
Gab is
trying.
trying. God bless that
Pete will
man.
go anywhere anyone. Get credit to him. He's showing up everywhere.
That's a good point. There are
Um,
some great people. Bernie too. I think Bernie,
Bernie
Pete,
too.
AOC, the Gab is trying.
Gav's
Um,
trying.
I think these
I
folks are
mean, but the
trying.
problem is we keep saying the same names episode after episode.
Yeah.
It's like Gav, Pete, AOC, Bernie, Chris Murphy, Andy Kim, and like end of list.
Yeah. It's a tough beat.
Jasmine,
You
obviously, our queen Jasmine.
our Queen Jasmine. Who we're finally
Um,
gonna have on. Twig is coming to
yes.
DC, which we're so excited for. So we're gonna be in studio finally again. We're gonna have some of our favorite humans on. You wanted to close on these white South African refugees, Twig. This
You know
is
what?
insane.
This whole
This is insane.
episode has been so stressful that I don't even know if I can stand it.
So
But
stressful.
I think it is, but it's the same thing as West Point. It's just like watching in real time as he just makes conspiracy theories true. Like
Yeah.
watching a president so there is not say that there is a white genocide in South Africa. There is not a white genocide in South Africa. Like that is psychotic.
Yeah.
That is absolutely totally false. And the idea that he is perpetuating this mythology from people who are some of the last people in modern global history to maintain a race-based apartheid state into the 90s, like, and like it's just it is an outrage, and it is Elon Musk, and it is Donald Trump, and it is these conspiracy theories, and it is this systemic attack on the global majority, which are
Yeah.
people of color. It is
Yeah.
a it is a reassess like it is a reassertion of white power in a very specifically racialized lens
Yeah.
that is so appalling and has become pervasive. And it's like, again, this guy, he's also for sale, right? So Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, or the prime minister of South Africa, I can't actually remember, is in the Oval Office. And Cyril's like, I know what the score is, bro. Like, sorry, I don't have a plane for you. Like, we could probably work this out a lot faster if I did. And the president's like, if you had had one, I'd take it. I mean, the whole thing's ludicrous. And then the president shouts over him and perpetuates a total conspiracy theory, mythologized conspiracy theory about harm being done to white folks in a country that is very freshly dealing with a protracted, incredibly violent in every single way race-based governmental structure. Um, and it's just like this guy. I love South Africa. I've been to South Africa a lot. My brother-in-law grew up there. Like there is it's just a fantasy and a fiction, and watching the president sort of assert whiteness in this way is both not surprising but also horrific. And it's like, shout out to Harvard for then again coming back out. They've already been doing a really good job sort of organizing and rallying other universities to push back. That obviously kicked off again this week with the administration attempting to say that they can't have international students. Harvard saying that they're going to start posting free online courses to about how government works, what the Constitution is and how it functions, how to recognize a dictatorship, like all of these things. I mean, I hope millions of Americans, I hope they break the internet trying to get onto these courses. I mean, it's just outrageous. Wasn't the most articulate of my rants, but it's just I'm just so beside myself watching this man perpetuate race-based mythologies like this.
It's quite insane to think how, you know, Trump's rise in power and the right, I think the media landscape of the right has been this attack on identity politics and race, right? This idea of race.
Such a good
And
point.
it is literally all Trump is consumed by. It's all he's consumed by is race.
Such a good
It's
point.
it.
Yeah.
It's what he wakes up to every day and what he goes to sleep every night. Ta-Nehisi Coates, well, name checked him twice in the same episode. I think he wrote a piece when Trump first won, and he called him the first white president, which is to say, the first president who is weaponizing whiteness every single day in response. And, I think a lot of folks would say in backlash to what they saw Barack Obama embodying and representing, and that there was this need, right? That there was this defense and reconstitution or reordering of the way things should be, right?
Yeah.
And what you're finding, though, to your point, like the fact that this is now beyond just America, like this is global. This is a
Yeah.
This is, especially, to your point with Elon Musk at his side, this is the kind of thing that historians have written about for decades and for generations. This is a scary fucking thing. And
Yeah.
man, this episode has been a real
Bummer.
downer. But Mr. Met, this is where Mr. Met comes in, because this is the whitest mascot in American history. And we love Mr. Met,
There you go. There you go. The Jenkins household doing their part.
Look at this guy.
To
Look how cute
support.
this guy is.
Oh my God, Ren.
I'm
gonna see you real soon, buddy.
I'm gonna see you real soon, Twig. I'm gonna see you real soon. We're gonna have some really great folks on. If people want to keep sending their happy birthdays to Carri Twig, I put up a post a couple of days ago. We love you, Carri Twig. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We won't say how old you are because you're ageless, who knows?
Oh, that's nice.
You could be 24.
Nice.
You could be as old as 29. You know what I mean? Who knows how old Carri Twig is?
I was out. We were out celebrating my birthday at my family at a restaurant, and some other girl was there celebrating her birthday. And she's like, "How old are you turning?" And I told her, and she's like, "What?" She's like, "I thought you were gonna say 24." I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm a little bit younger, but not 10 years younger.
Yeah.
15 years younger. All right, my man.
Well, I hope you have a really great birthday, Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, you too. Good night, fan.
Will do. Peace, Twig.